Hello, Karl Anthony here, and I hope this message finds you feeling good, happy, loved, and in control. But if it doesn't, I just want to come on and talk to you just for a few moments, just to see, can my words help inspire you to just view yourself differently, to see yourself differently, and to actually understand that it's all an illusion. It comes down to how we perceive the world around us. And it's spoken and said that, if we're happy inside and we're content inside, well, we can see the world as a fantastic place. But if we have an underlying feeling of low self-esteem, no worth, not good enough, well then we can see the world as a threatening place, a stressful place. It's a really, really quick way to find out, are you emotionally happy? And if you have time, and if you're in a safe place to do so, where your conscious mind is not needed for your own protection, or if you're watching this video later, all you got to do is close your eyes, take a long deep breath, release the breath, do that maybe 5-6 times, and each time you release the breath, just let your whole body become heavy or relaxed. And when you do that, I want you to just ask yourself a question internally. Simple question. And ask yourself, am I good enough? Am I equal to everybody else out there? Now, the very first thing you need to know here is that you need to listen to the very, very first response you get back. It will either come in a voice in your head, it will come as a feeling, or it might come as a gut instinct. So listen to the very, very, very first voice without trying to rationalize it or use logic, because that's normally the truth. It's your internal voice, it's your emotional value at that moment is saying, no, we're not good enough. And it explains too why people are shy, they have no confidence, no self-esteem. They're afraid of people, and I'm an ex-sufferer. I spent the first 20 odd years of my life afraid of people, not being able to communicate with them, because I felt nothing I would say was important enough for them to accept me. So therefore I was very shy, I had no confidence, I was actually afraid of people. Now, I had 3-4 friends, which they were okay, I could get on with them, but if anybody else came into that circle that I didn't really know, automatically I'd go quiet. I'd run out of things to say. And there'd be long periods of silence, because I felt I had no self-worth inside. I felt I wasn't as good as them. So again, just to remind you to exercise, whenever you get a chance to do so, or if you're in a safe place to do it now, just close your eyes. Take about 5 or 6 long deep breaths, and actually let them go, let your whole body just relax. And when you do that, just allow yourself just to drift into a lovely place of peace. Ask yourself a simple question: am I happy? Am I emotionally happy? Am I good enough? Listen to the very first response that comes back. That's normally the emotional truth. You see, the world we live in, it's a bit complicated, because we've been educated at a very young age and sort of programmed in a system, and programmed basically to fear authority. We're sort of programmed to fear other people, what they might think of us. And yet we're all equal. No matter where you come from, no matter what colour your skin is, we are all equal. But through the system we all go through, it becomes really clear very early in life that, well, we have to start worrying what other people think of us, instead of educating us to say, well, it's irrelevant what anybody else thinks of you, because no matter what anybody thinks of you, it won't change who you are. It's what you think about you will change who you are, and only you. So we're following this world of getting the good job, getting the money in. Now, don't get me wrong, I do understand that we need money to survive. Without it, we're in trouble. We can't live anywhere, we can't buy food, and the way the world has gone, it's become quite scary. We're only a couple of paychecks away from the gutter, as they say. So this world we're in, we're sort of conditioned to work, and to chase over what we think is value. The brand new car, the 2 holidays a year, the nice clothes, going out, socialising, eating. They're nice things, don't get me wrong. We all like nice things, but that will not change who you are. That will not change the emotional value you have. Only you can do that. So, a simple question. If you were to remove everything you have in your life materially, as in your car, your house, your job, your whatever sport you're into, whatever it is, and if you have kids, just for a moment, if you just took them out of the equation, that it's just you, only you and nobody else, are you happy right now? Be honest with yourself. And if the answer is no, which, trust me, it is for so many people out there, if the answer is no, that's okay. Because my intention here on these videos is to come in and to help educate you that this is construct. It's not even real. It's basically a program in your mind that determines your perception, how you see the world, how you see other people. Because everybody else, trust me, has that inner voice too. Everybody else has that negative thinking, negative critic inside. Now, we do our best to distract ourselves, don't get me wrong. But the distraction we normally use can have negative consequences. But because there's value in the distraction from who we are and how we feel and the no value we have in ourselves, well then, that distraction, even though it has negative consequences, is accepted. For instance, excessive drinking. Excessive, eating too much food. Spending 8-10 hours a day on social media if you can afford it, or constantly checking your phone to see has somebody liked a message or a text from you, to give you that little bit of recognition. You might work 100 hours a week, we might gamble, we might have many other addictions. It could be drugs, it could be pornography. But look at that, it's all a distraction. Nothing but a distraction from who you are inside. Who are you? The day you were born less equal than everybody else. Now, I'm not talking about where you're born into a nice house and, a swimming pool in the back. It doesn't matter whether you're born in a corporation house or a mansion. But the day you were born, were you equal to everybody else? What changed? Well, what changed was the first 6-7 years of life. It's called the blueprint stage. Plenty of traffic. It's called the blueprint stage. And what that means is that in the first 6-7 years of life, we are extremely suggestible. Excuse me. For a quiet road, I've never seen so much traffic. But we're truly suggestible. We believe in Santa Claus, we believe in tooth fairies, we believe in anything we're told. We have no logical mind at the age of 6 or 7 to determine rational thinking. Is this situation really dangerous? No, it's not. Well, then I won't worry or I won't panic. So panic, anxiety, depression, the loss of value in ourselves, which can be, reinforced as we go through life through more unfair or unjustified, actions against us. That all happens in a very early age, and that determines our perception. It's like having glasses on. Now my perception is it's a bit darker than it was. But that's not true. I'm just looking through a darker lens. So if you're going around life and you're feeling no good or you're useless and you're distracting yourself from everything, maybe you're looking through a different set of lenses than reality. Because the truth is you are good enough. You're as good as anybody. You've always been good as anybody. What does it take to survive, conception, all the months in the mother's womb, coming out, surviving, breathing, heart beating, learning to walk and learn to talk, learning so many different things, lots of information, constantly coming at us, and you did it. But based on the perception that was programmed into you from a very young age, this is how you view the world. And you worry about what other people think of you. You see other people saying, I'm no good, I'm useless. It's not true. Change your perception. See the bright. Put it this way. When you're out and about and you're driving in the car and you pass by people in the street, or you see them in the mall or in the shopping centres, you come up with an assumption about that person, who they are, what type of person they are. And you make an assumption and you accept it. It's like driving past somebody's front door and going, well, I know what type of people they are. When you think about that, that's crazy. assumptions. So no matter who you see, you will always come up with an assumption. We have to, because our survival instinct is to recognize and to determine, is this a threat or not? That's how we survive. So my whole point here is that a lot of people out there worry about other people looking at them and, valuing them. Maybe you worry about other people valuing you or not seeing you as good enough. But hang on a second. They're making assumptions, just like you are. It's not even real. This is all an illusion, you see. It's all an illusion. And if you had a difficult childhood, if you had a really, painful childhood or upbringing that didn't go as well as it could have, well, the day you were born, if you were swapped with a different baby and that baby came home to your parents and you went to a different set of parents that treated you completely differently, you wouldn't be the same person today. So, what takes away our value? Well, when people treat us unfairly or unjustified, when people do things to us that we perceive as a judgment against us, and then because they do this action to us, we base that as a valuation of us, based on what they've done. But the truth is, it's actually a valuation of them. So if somebody comes up and they're really ignorant to you or confrontational with you, and you go off and you think, oh my God, and they're horrible to me, and oh my God, and they spoke to me really, nastily, and you accept what they said, and you go home and you feel that pain. You're making a massive mistake, a huge mistake here, because it ain't personal. It's not because of you they said it, it's because of them they said it to you. Because you took it personally, what happens? Boom, your value disappears. Any value you have, by the way, disappears at that moment. So the trick is not to take anything personally. Not to let other people carry out actions in your presence or behind your back or on Facebook or at work or anywhere, even relationships. And the trick is not to take that as an evaluation of you, but as an evaluation of them. Because once you start doing that, you start to see the world in a different place. People say to me all the time, I see clients all the time, I lecture, I talk about the mind all the time. And I have people come up to me at 30 years of age, 60 years of age, 80 years of age, who have spent their whole life emotionally broke. Now imagine emotion value as a currency, their skins, they have no money. They can't even get a loan. And they go and get a loan for a new car or a holiday, but hey, that ain't emotional happiness, that's material distraction. This road is so busy. But what I'll say to you is, you see, this is the trick. To look at the world just out of a different set of lenses. Change your perspective here, change your perception of what's happening. And think back to everything that happened to you negatively in life. Whether you were dumped by your ex, whether they cheated on you, whether your mother couldn't pick you up and say I love you, whether your dad was confrontational, whatever trauma you might have went through, or abuse. Was it because of you it happened? Was it because you were no use it happened? Was it because you were a disaster and these people were allowed to treat you badly because you're a failure? Was it because of that? Or was it because the other people were so damaged from their programming, they knew no difference? Because that's the truth. That is the truth. So, if you're worried about what people think of you, well, hang on a second. You make assumptions based on your perception of people walking down the street every day of the week. Why can't they do that about you? Why does it matter what they think? It's irrelevant. And in fact, what other people think of you is none of your business. None. None whatsoever. I mean, you need to get that in your mind. It's none of your business. What you think of them is none of their business. So, each and every night when you go to bed, I just want you to lie there, give it 5 minutes. Take 10 long deep breaths. Let your body become heavy and loose. Start counting the alphabet backwards. Pick a random letter and see can you count backwards with every breath you exhale until you get to the moment where you get confused, because that's what you want to happen, because that's what relaxes the conscious mind. Do that a couple of times, and every time you get confused, let your mind and body relax more. And once you get confused a couple of times, I want you to then to use your imagination. Now some people, when they imagine, they can see really clear images. They're visual people. Some people can't. I can't. I don't get images in my mind when I imagine, but I can imagine, so can you. So if you're visual, great, and if you're not, it's brilliant. But imagine being out in a place of peace, where there's no phones, there's no, there's no nastiness, there's only you. No Nobody wants you, nobody needs you, just for those 5 minutes, just you. And imagine taking yourself out into the countryside. Having a beautiful time just back in nature, walking on the grass on your feet, lying down, and then when you lie down, I want you to imagine you fall into a deep sleep, and when you fall into a deep sleep, imagine you go into a deep dream. And in the dream, I want you to imagine going down this staircase with 10 steps, and every step you go down, let yourself relax even more. When you get to the bottom of it, I want you to start thinking about what I'm saying here, that nothing is personal. And if you keep getting upset because people keep doing the same things to you, well, really what you're saying is that, well, I'm expecting somebody who knows no different to treat me differently, and every time they don't, I'm going to lose all my value. Doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Think about this. This doesn't make sense. So, if somebody's always been ignorant to you or confrontation with you, as far back as you remember, well, here's the thing. If you expect them to be nice to you, if you expect them to treat you differently, well then what you're really saying is, well, it's like asking the toaster to wash your jeans. The toaster can't do it. It doesn't have the hardware, it doesn't have the programming to do that. It can toast your bread, no problem. It can be confrontational, no problem. It can be ignorant, no problem, but it cannot toast, or say, cannot wash the jeans because it doesn't know how to do it. It's never known how to do it. And it's like asking your washing machine to toast the bread, same thing, it hasn't a clue. So if somebody in your life is giving you a lot of pain, whether it's, you know, a relationship, whether it's a family member, whether it's a boss, whether it's a friend, whether it's just people in general, by you expecting them to change, you're asking for the impossible. And every time you don't get what you want, you lose your value. Wow. Can you see how wrong that is? Can you see how crazy that is? And if you can, fantastic, that's what I want you to get. I really want you to understand this, because once you get that, you can then go, you know what? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, because I'm as good as anybody. I'm equal to anybody. I've always been good as anybody. I learned to walk the same as everybody. I learned to talk the same as anybody. I might not have the same things or the same schooling. So what? This world we live in is a construct. Think about it. Do you think, you know, if evolution, whatever, we came through billions of years, bangs, you know, big bangs and stars and nebulas and everything forming. I mean, do you think we've gone through all of that? You know, this burning rock billions of years ago, and then, you know, whatever. You know, to recently there where, you know, we came from, you know, apes and we became human beings. And then we went through thousands of years of, you know, challenges, trying to survive and trying to adapt to different environments. Do you think that we've gone through all that, adapting to different environments, world wars, civil wars, you know, the horrific stuff that's happening in this world? Do you think you've gone through all of that, or us as a species have gone through all of that to end up working 40 hours a week? to be focusing on financial happiness when it should be emotional happiness? You know, we're social creatures. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be friends. We live in herds like rats and cows, you know, safety in numbers. But what's happening is we're all going this way. We're all dividing from each other, and we're looking at each other, we're judging each other. And I don't care what colour your skin is, I don't care what country you're from. We're all the same. We're all the same. And we're one, and that's the problem here, because we've been divided through our own perception and also through systems and programs in place. We are programmed to look at people and judge them. But we need to come together as one. Because here is the thing, you are as good as anybody. You've always been that way. But you just don't see it that way. You're equal to everybody else. So I want you to start thinking differently. And if you need to go back and, you know, rewind this or whatever, go back and just go back to the part where I said about going to bed at night, take the deep breaths and getting confused about, just write it down. And then when you do that, you get better every night to do it. And each and every time you do it, I want you to connect with your gut and your heart and your brain. And I want you to let yourself know you're as good as anybody. You've always been as good as anybody, no matter what shape or size you are, no matter what challenges you have. True happiness comes from the heart. Feeling self-love, self-worth, feeling good enough and equal to everybody else. Everything else is a distraction. So I hope this helps you some way, and I'll be back on and we'll do some more, and hopefully you'll think about what I'm saying and get some great information from it. And I'd love to see you put it into practice and be happy, just loving each other, just for Think about people differently, because everybody you see is struggling. Everybody you see is hurt or devalued or no value in themselves. Everybody. And it doesn't look like it. You know, driving around a big Merc or, you know, the CEO of a big company, you think, yeah, perfect life. Well, you know, here's one for you. The lotto, whether I'm sure if you're, no matter what country you're in, but there's nearly a lotto in every country, I'd imagine. But look at the statistics of all the people who win. Within 2-3 years, they're miserable. They're going back to how they were before they won. And if you think about why, well, okay, say you get $3 million or euros or sterling, doesn't matter. Boom, what a shock. My whole life has changed. I now have to work again. I can buy a brand new BMW. I can go and, you know, I could nearly buy a small plane. I can go on holidays whenever I want. I never have to work again. I can have the best clothes. I can eat in the best restaurants. Yes, you can. And that's a great distraction for a while. And then here's the triggers. So you get a letter from somebody you haven't spoken to in 20 years, looking for money. And you never really got on with them in the first place. They actually treated you quite bad. But now they're coming along and saying, look, I'm delighted for you, and you know, you're after getting some money, and you know what, could you help me out? Could you loan me 30,000? I'm stuck with my mortgage. And then I'm getting letters from people I don't know, begging letters. And you know, it becomes like, you become like a pincushion there. You keep it coming at you, boom, 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 boom. Give me. And what is that? That is a massive sense of unfairness and injustice. And if you want to take away people's value, treat them unfairly, treat them unjustifiably. Because that's what happens. And these lotto winners, normally they'll blow all the money and they'll end up worse than they were when they had it. So look, yes, you need to work. Yes, you need a job. Yes, you need to eat. Yes, you need a roof over your head. But you need much more than that. You need value. You need emotional value. You need love, self-love. Because there's a lot of sick people in the world. There's a lot of people in A&Es right now, in hospital beds right now, you know, suffering with incurable diseases and curable diseases. But a lot of these diseases have been caused by this. Yeah. So if you have any anger inside, if you have any regret or bitterness, let it go. Forgive these people, for they know not what they do. I'm not saying like them or be friends with them. I'm saying take them out. They're not paying rent. They're in here and they're not even paying rent. Get rid of them. And the only way you can get rid of them is to let go of the anger towards them. In here, go to a punch bag, punch the living daylights of it. The punch bag represents the anger you have for that person. Now do that at night time when you're in that lovely, lovely, deep sense of relaxation. Go to the punch bag. Put somebody's name on the bag that you really are angry with. Punch it, punch it, punch it, and punch it until you can't feel the anger anymore. And then when you can't, if you want that to stay away, generate absolute forgiveness for that person. Not because you like them, not because you want to be friends with them, not because you agree with them. You're forgiving them because you're done with them. You want them away. And every time you do that, do one a night, one person a night. And if you feel you didn't do it right, do it again. But do one person a night until you've gone through them all. That will give you back some emotional value. Look, I hope you got something from this video. I really do, because my whole life is about helping people understand the trap they're in. And the trap they're in is money, money, money. Happiness is money, 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 money. No, it's not. No, never was, never will be. Take care, my friends. Talk to you soon.